Welcome, everyone. I'm thrilled to have you here today. Let's dive into our exciting topic, Internet technology. This is the first slide, the cover of our presentation, and I want to briefly introduce what we'll be exploring. We'll look at how Internet technology has evolved, its impact on our lives, and what the future holds. So, without further ado, let's get started. Let's take a quick look at the contents of today's presentation. We will explore what the Internet is, including its history and how it connects us. We'll examine different types of Internet connections, like dial-up, broadband, and mobile. Understanding Internet service providers, or ISPs, is also important since they give us access to the web. We'll dive into various types of networks, such as local area networks, wide area networks, and metropolitan area networks, to see how they differ and serve different needs. Moving on, we'll discuss key protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, and SMTP, which are the rules that enable communication across the Internet. We'll look at how email works, including some shorthand language used in emails, and the protocols that support email services, such as POP3 and IMAP. Additionally, we'll explore web pages, both static and dynamic, and understand what makes each unique. Web browsers are our gateways to the Internet, so we'll review popular browsers and their roles. Also, we'll see how search engines help us find information quickly and efficiently. Finally, we'll touch on servers. These are powerful computers that store websites and data, and interesting facts to give you a broader perspective on the Internet's vast ecosystem. Throughout this presentation, I aim to connect these concepts to give you a comprehensive understanding of how the Internet functions and its significance in our daily lives. Let's start by understanding what the Internet really is. The Internet is essentially a global digital infrastructure that connects millions of computers around the world. Think of it as a vast network that links devices across different countries, allowing them to communicate seamlessly. Now, this connectivity is what makes the Internet so powerful and versatile. It's not just a bunch of computers. It's a worldwide public network where people from all over can join in. And once connected, users can access a wide variety of services, such as sharing information, communicating with others, or even conducting business. So, in essence, the Internet is the backbone of modern digital life, enabling the exchange of information on a global scale and supporting countless activities that are central to our daily routines. Understanding this foundation is key as we explore how it influences everything from communication to commerce and beyond. Today, I want to introduce you to Sir Timothy John Berners-Lee, born on June 8, 1955, which makes him 68 years old as of 2023. He's often called Tim BL, a nickname many in the tech world use. Tim Berners-Lee is a British computer scientist who is famously known as the inventor of the World Wide Web. His invention revolutionized how we access and share information globally. He currently serves as the director of the World Wide Web Consortium, or W3C, which is the organization responsible for overseeing the ongoing development and standards of the web. This role is crucial because it ensures that the web remains open, accessible, and continues to evolve in a way that benefits everyone. Connecting this to our overall theme, Berners-Lee's work exemplifies how innovation and leadership can shape the future of technology, making information universally accessible and fostering a more connected world. Let's talk about dial-up connections to the Internet. Essentially, dial-up relies solely on the existing telephone network, which means it doesn't require any special infrastructure beyond what's already in place for phone calls. This makes it a very accessible option in many areas. Where telephone access is widespread, dial-up can still be quite useful, especially since it's often the only available option in rural or remote regions. In these areas, broadband infrastructure like cable or fiber optic lines isn't common due to low population density, making dial-up the practical choice. Understanding these connections helps us appreciate how technology adapts to different environments and why sometimes the simplest solutions are still relevant today. It's a reminder that connectivity options are diverse and depend heavily on local infrastructure and needs. Now, let's talk about broadband connection. Broadband internet service is actually the most widely used form of internet access today. The main reason for this popularity is its high access speeds, which allow us to do so much more online, whether it's streaming videos, downloading files, or just browsing websites quickly. It's really become the backbone of our digital lives because it provides the fast, reliable connection we need to stay connected and productive. As we look at the overall landscape of internet technology, broadband stands out as a key enabler for both personal and business activities. It's the foundation that supports the seamless, high-speed experience that we all rely on. Let's take a closer look at Internet Service Providers, or ISPs. An ISP is essentially an organization that gives us access to the Internet, which is the backbone of our digital world. Now, ISPs can come in different forms. Some are community-owned and operate as nonprofit organizations, focusing on serving the public interest. Others are privately owned and run for profit, aiming to generate revenue through their services. Understanding the role of ISPs is key because they are the gateways through which we connect to the vast resources of the Internet. Whether they're local community providers or large private companies, they all play a crucial part in our daily digital lives. This ties into the broader theme of how infrastructure supports our connectivity and access to information. Let's take a closer look at the service providers' ranking. At the top, we have BSNL holding the largest market share with 57.84%, which clearly shows its dominant position in the market. Following that, MTNL is in second place with a 13.81% share, indicating its significant presence as well. Coming in third, we see Bharti Airtel Limited, with an 8.07% market share. This highlights its strong competitive position, although still trailing behind the giants. In fourth place, Reliance Communications Infrastructure Limited holds 7.88%, solidifying its role in the industry. Lastly, Hathway Cable and Datacom PVT Limited occupies the fifth spot with a 1.94% share. What's important here is understanding how the market is distributed. BSNL's dominance significantly influences the landscape, but the other players are crucial in shaping competition and innovation. Recognizing these rankings helps us grasp the competitive environment and the key players driving the industry forward. This context ties back to our broader discussion on market dynamics and future growth prospects in the telecom sector. So let's talk about what a network actually is. Essentially, it's a connection of two or more computers that are linked together. The main idea here is that these computers can share resources with each other. When I say resources, I mean things like files, printers, or even internet connections. Now, the key point is that this connection allows the computers to communicate and coordinate. They can share the same software, which means you don't need to install everything on each machine separately. Instead, they can access shared programs or data stored on a central computer or server. This concept is fundamental because it enables efficiency and collaboration, especially in larger organizations or even within a home setup. Understanding how networks work is crucial because they form the backbone of how we share information and resources in today's digital world. So, in essence, a network isn't just about connecting computers. It's about creating a system where resources and information flow seamlessly between multiple devices, making everything more accessible and efficient. Let's talk about local area networks, or LANs. A LAN is essentially a computer network that connects devices within a limited area, like a home, a school, or an office building. The key point here is that LANs are confined to a small geographical space, which makes them ideal for sharing resources efficiently. Usually, a LAN has a central server that hosts applications and stores data. This server acts as a hub, allowing multiple users to access shared resources easily. This setup not only improves collaboration, but also simplifies management. Connecting this to our overall theme, LANs are fundamental because they enable quick, reliable communication within a local environment, which is crucial for effective organization and productivity. Let's talk about wide area networks, or WANs for short. A WAN is a type of telecommunication network that covers a much broader area compared to local networks. Think of it as the network that connects different cities, regions, or even countries. It's the backbone that links together smaller networks across vast distances. What's really important to understand here is that WANs enable communication and data exchange over large geographical areas, making them essential for organizations that operate across multiple locations. This differs from local area networks, which are confined to a single building or campus. In the context of our overall discussion about network infrastructure, WANs are crucial because they facilitate the connectivity needed for global operations and data sharing. They help us understand how organizations stay connected across borders, supporting everything from international business to cloud services. So, in essence, WANs are the networks that connect the bigger picture across metropolitan, regional, or national boundaries. Let's talk about metropolitan area networks, or MANs. A MAN is basically a computer network that covers a larger area than a typical local area network, or LAN. Think of it as a network that spans an entire city or a big campus. The key idea here is that while LANs are limited to a single building or a small area, MANs are designed to connect multiple LANs over a broader geographical region. They can cover anywhere from a few city blocks to entire cities. This makes them ideal for organizations that need to connect multiple locations within a city efficiently. So, in the context of our overall theme, MANs serve as a crucial bridge, linking local networks across larger areas, enabling seamless communication and data sharing over metropolitan scales. Let's talk about protocols in computing. Essentially, a protocol is a set of rules that computers use to communicate with each other across a network. Think of it like a shared language or a common code that ensures everyone is on the same page. These protocols are crucial because they define how data is transferred, how connections are established, and how devices interact smoothly. A protocol acts as a standard or convention that controls these interactions. Without it, computers wouldn't be able to understand each other, and the whole system would break down. This is what makes protocols so important. They enable reliable and efficient communication between different computing endpoints, whether they're servers, devices, or other network components. In the context of our overall theme, understanding protocols helps us see how different parts of a network work together seamlessly. They're the backbone of digital communication, ensuring that data moves correctly from one point to another, maintaining the integrity and security of our information. Now, let's talk about search engines like Google, Yahoo, MSN, and OAL. These are tools we use every day to find information or pictures on the internet. For example, if you want to learn how to surf the internet safely, all you have to do is go to one of these search engines and type in a keyword related to your topic. The search engine then quickly scans the web and provides you with a list of relevant websites and resources. This makes finding information much easier and faster. Remember, using search engines is a fundamental part of navigating the internet effectively, and understanding how to use them properly helps you find accurate and helpful information efficiently. Now, let's take a look at some of the top search engines out there today. As you can see, the list includes major players like Google.com, which is by far the most popular and widely used search engine worldwide. Then we have Yahoo.com, which has been a long-standing contender in the search space, although its market share has declined over the years. Bing.com is Microsoft's search engine, often integrated with Windows devices, making it a key player in the ecosystem. Ask.com was once quite popular for question-and-answer style searches. Moving down the list, ScrubTheWeb.com and BLEKKAW.com are examples of more specialized or niche search engines, catering to specific types of searches or audiences. DuckDuckGo.com is gaining popularity because of its focus on user privacy and not tracking search history. EntireWeb.com and Tioma.com are also notable, with Tioma being the engine behind Ask.com for a while, emphasizing community and expert content. Gigablast.com might not be as well known, but it's still part of the landscape, offering a different take on search. Overall, these engines illustrate the diversity in search options available, each with its unique features and strengths. Recognizing these helps us understand the competitive landscape of search engines and how they serve different user needs, which ties back to the overall theme of how search technology has evolved and the importance of choosing the right tool for specific purposes. Let's talk about communication, which is a key theme in our presentation. Messenger services have truly been a breakthrough in how we connect today. They allow us to communicate instantly, breaking down the barriers of distance. Whether it's staying in touch with friends or family members who are far away, these platforms make it easier and more affordable than ever. They've transformed the way we maintain relationships across long distances, making communication not only more accessible, but also more convenient. This advancement really highlights how technology continues to bring us closer, despite physical separation. It's a perfect example of how innovations in communication shape our everyday lives and keep us connected no matter where we are. Now, let's talk about electronic mails, or emails, which have become a crucial part of our communication landscape. These emails are essentially digital letters sent via the internet, and they have largely replaced traditional handwritten letters in many contexts. What makes emails so powerful is their speed. Messages can arrive almost instantly, and their cost, which is virtually nothing. This immediacy and affordability mean that communication can be more efficient and accessible for everyone. Emails are indispensable in the modern world, especially for businesses and individuals who need to stay connected across long distances. Whether it's coordinating with colleagues, reaching out to clients, or keeping in touch with friends and family, email has become an essential tool for seamless, quick, and cost-effective communication. This ties into our overall theme of how technology continues to transform the way we connect and share information, making our interactions more efficient and far-reaching than ever before. All right, let's take a closer look at this slide, which is all about common email abbreviations and shorthand. These abbreviations are frequently used in everyday email communication to save time and make messages more concise. For example, EML, which simply means email me later, is a quick way to ask someone to follow up with you later on. Then we have 10Q, standing for thank you, a friendly and informal way to express gratitude. FYI, or for your information, is often used to share additional details without expecting an immediate response. PYR, meaning per your request, indicates that you're providing something based on their earlier inquiry or instruction. EOM, short for end of message, is often used when the entire message is contained in a single line, signaling that there's nothing more to add. FWD simply means forwarded, used when passing along messages or information. ASAP, or as soon as possible, emphasizes urgency. BTW, which stands for by the way, is a casual way to introduce additional information. IMO, meaning in my opinion, is used to share personal perspectives. NBD, or not big deal, is a way to downplay issues or concerns. OIC, meaning oh, I see, shows understanding or realization. OTOH, or on the other hand, introduces a contrasting point or perspective. POV, standing for point of view, indicates someone's perspective or opinion. This slide is really about familiarizing ourselves with these common shorthand terms, which can make email communication faster and more efficient. Understanding these abbreviations helps us both in reading and composing emails more confidently, especially in a professional setting where quick exchanges are common. So, being comfortable with these will definitely enhance your digital communication skills. A web browser is essentially an application software or program that helps us access and view documents and other resources on the internet. Think of it as your window to the vast world of online information. The very first web browser was invented in 1990 by Tim Berners-Lee, the pioneer behind the World Wide Web. It was initially called World Wide Web, all one word, without any spaces, and later was renamed Nexus. Now, an important milestone in web history is Mosaic, which is credited with popularizing the World Wide Web and making it accessible to more people around the world. Understanding these developments highlights how essential web browsers are in connecting us to the digital world, which ties back to our overall theme of exploring how technology shapes our daily lives. When we talk about a web page or web page, we're referring to a digital document or resource that's designed specifically for the World Wide Web. Think of it as a digital page you can access through your web browser. Once you open it, it displays on your monitor or mobile device, making information readily available at your fingertips. What's really interesting is that a web page isn't just static text. It can contain all sorts of different types of information. You might see images, read text, listen to audio, or even interact with certain elements like forms or buttons. All of this makes web pages versatile tools for sharing and engaging with information. This concept ties into our overall theme of how digital technology connects us and delivers content in dynamic ways. So, understanding what makes up a web page helps us appreciate how the internet is such a powerful platform for communication and information sharing. Let's talk about static web pages, sometimes called flat pages. These are web pages that are delivered to you exactly as they are stored on the server. There's no dynamic content or real-time processing involved. The key point here is that the information displayed is the same for every user, no matter who you are or when you visit. This simplicity makes static web pages quick to load and easy to host. They play an important role in the overall web ecosystem, especially for simple sites or landing pages where content doesn't need to change often. Understanding static pages helps us see the foundation of how websites can be built, before adding more complex, dynamic features. All right, let's talk about dynamic web pages. These are websites that are generated at the moment a user accesses them, meaning they don't just show the same static content every time. Instead, they can change based on user interactions or other factors. For example, when you log into your email or social media account, the page updates to show your specific data. This makes the browsing experience more personalized and interactive. The key point here is that dynamic pages are generated in real time, often using server-side scripting or client-side scripts to tailor the content to the user. This concept ties into the overall theme of web development, creating engaging, responsive, and user-centric websites that adapt to user needs. It's a fundamental part of modern web experiences. A website, which you might also see written as website, or just simply site, is essentially a collection of related web pages. These pages contain various types of content like text, videos, music, audio, and images. Think of a website as a digital space where all these media come together to serve a specific purpose. Now, websites are incredibly diverse. You have business websites that promote products or services, news sites that keep you updated with current events, academic journal sites for research, gaming sites for entertainment, and even file-sharing platforms. There are message boards for community discussions, web-based email for communication, social networking sites to connect with friends, and real-time stock market data sites for investors. The range of services provided by websites is truly vast. Connecting this to our overall theme, understanding what a website is lays the foundation for grasping how digital communication and services are delivered online. It's the core concept that underpins how we access information, connect with others, and perform countless tasks in today's digital world. A server is essentially a computer program that runs to respond to requests from other programs. When we talk about servers, we're often referring to a physical computer that's dedicated to providing specific services. Think of it as a host that's always ready to serve the needs of other computers on a network. This setup allows different devices to communicate and share resources efficiently. In the bigger picture, servers are fundamental to how networks operate, enabling everything from web browsing to data management. By dedicating a machine to these tasks, we ensure reliable and continuous service for users and applications alike. So, let's talk about what a protocol actually is in the context of computing. Essentially, a protocol is a set of rules that computers follow to communicate with each other across a network. Think of it like a common language or a handshake that ensures all devices understand each other. These rules are really important because they establish a standard or convention that controls, or even enables, the connection, communication, and data transfer between different computing endpoints. When we say endpoints, we're referring to the devices involved in the communication, whether it's your laptop, a server, or a smartphone. The key idea here is that protocols make sure that despite differences in hardware or software, devices can still work together smoothly. This concept ties back to our overall theme of understanding how networks operate seamlessly. Without protocols, data transfer would be chaotic and unreliable. Instead, protocols create order, allowing for efficient and secure communication between devices, which is fundamental in our digital world. Let's talk about File Transfer Protocol, or FTP for short. It's a standard network protocol that we use to transfer files from one computer to another over a network, like the internet. Think of it as a reliable way to move data between devices. What makes FTP interesting is that it uses two separate connections, one control connection and one data connection. The control connection handles commands and responses, while the data connection is used specifically for the files being transferred. This separation helps ensure smooth and efficient file transfers. Connecting this to the bigger picture, protocols like FTP are essential tools in managing how data moves across networks, enabling us to share information quickly and securely. Let's talk about the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, or SMTP for short. This protocol is essential because it's what enables us to send and receive emails across the internet. Think of it as the postal service of the digital world, making sure your messages get from your computer to someone else's. It's actually the standard protocol used worldwide for transferring electronic mail messages from one computer to another. Without SMTP, email communication would be a lot more complicated. So, understanding SMTP helps us grasp how emails are reliably delivered, which ties into the bigger picture of how the internet supports seamless communication. Let's take a closer look at the Post Office Protocol, specifically version 3 or POP3. This is a widely used method for delivering email from a mail server to your local machine. Essentially, when you check your email, POP3 is what helps transfer those messages from the server to your device so you can read them offline. One of the key points is that POP3 is designed to be simple and efficient. It downloads your emails and then typically removes them from the server, meaning your messages are stored locally. This approach makes it straightforward to access your emails without needing an active internet connection afterward. However, it's important to understand that because POP3 often deletes messages from the server after download, it is less suitable for users who want to access their emails from multiple devices. In the larger context of email protocols, POP3 is one of the earliest methods, and although newer protocols like IMAP offer more flexibility, POP3 remains relevant, especially for users who prefer local storage and simplicity. Understanding POP3 helps us see how email delivery has evolved and the different choices available based on user needs. Now, let's talk about IMAP, or Internet Message Access Protocol, which is increasingly replacing POP as the main way email clients communicate with email servers. The key advantage of IMAP is that it allows your email client not just to retrieve messages, but also to manipulate them directly on the server. This means you can delete messages, change their status, or manage multiple mailboxes, all without having to actually download the emails. This flexibility makes it much easier to organize and handle your emails efficiently, especially when you're using multiple devices. So, in the context of our overall discussion on email protocols, IMAP offers a more dynamic and synchronized way to manage your messages compared to POP. Now, let's take a closer look at some common types of domain suffixes and what they signify. First, we have AC, which is typically used for academic institutions. Then there's, indicating a business or commercial intent. The co suffix is also for commercial purposes, and it's often used as an alternative to com. Speaking of com, this is the most widely recognized domain for commercial organizations and businesses. Next, the edu suffix is reserved for educational institutions, mainly in the United States. Moving on, gov is used by local or national government entities. The int suffix is designated for international organizations, like treaties or alliances. Then we have net, which originally stood for network providers but is now used more broadly. The org suffix is typically used by nonprofit organizations. Stands for National Informatics Center, often used by government agencies involved with information technology. Understanding these suffixes helps us identify the purpose or type of an organization just by looking at their domain name, which is crucial when navigating the digital world. One of the most fascinating aspects of the internet is not just what it can do today, but its incredible journey of birth, evolution, and history. It all started in 1960 when the US Defense created what we now know as the internet. Can you imagine? The first computer hard drive back then could only store about 5 megabytes of data, hardly enough for a single high-resolution photo today. Now, if we look at how quickly new technologies spread, the internet's growth is truly astonishing. For example, radio took 38 years to reach 1 million users, and television achieved that in just 13 years. But the internet? It hit 1 million users in only 5 years. That rapid growth really highlights how transformative this technology has become. Every year, about 3 million terabytes of data are created and stored. That's an enormous amount, and that number keeps climbing. And interestingly, the term World Wide Web was coined by Tim Berners-Lee in 1990, marking a pivotal point in making the internet accessible and useful for everyone. On average, people spend around 41 seconds viewing a single web page, according to a recent Google survey. It may seem brief, but it shows how quickly users scan information online. Now, shifting gears a bit, cybercrime has unfortunately become more common. Every 10 seconds, a new cybercrime occurs, emphasizing the importance of cybersecurity. Also, when we look at internet demographics, only about 30% of users are women, which highlights ongoing issues of digital inclusion. All these facts remind us that the internet is a constantly evolving and powerful tool that impacts nearly every aspect of our lives, from data storage and communication to security and accessibility. Let's take a moment to look at some interesting facts about computers and the internet that are quite fascinating. You know, nowadays, children often seem to know more about computers than their parents do. But there are some remarkable facts that everyone should be aware of. For example, did you know that Douglas Engelbart created the very first computer mouse back in 1968? Imagine that. It's been around for over 50 years and has evolved so much since then. Another interesting point is that today, we can access more than 1 billion websites through the internet. That's an astonishing amount of information available at our fingertips, showing just how vast and interconnected the digital world has become. When the first web browser was introduced, it was called Mosaic. It was a significant milestone because it made navigating the web much easier and more user-friendly. And here's a fun fact about our habits while browsing the internet. On average, we blink about 10 times a minute when we're online, compared to about 20 times when we're not focused on screens. This reduction in blinking can lead to eye strain and dryness, which highlights the importance of taking breaks and caring for our eyes, even as we enjoy the digital world. These facts remind us how much the world of computers and the internet has grown and changed, impacting our daily lives in countless ways. So here on slide 33, we're looking at some examples of popular websites. As you can see, websites like Actinimation.com, Yahoo.com, Microsoft.com, Google.com, Facebook.com, and SlideGeeks.com are all listed. The key point here is that these websites are well-known and widely visited, illustrating the diversity and reach of online platforms. What this slide emphasizes is how different websites serve various purposes, from entertainment and social interaction to information and business. For instance, Yahoo and Google are search engines and portals, while Facebook is a social media giant, and Microsoft offers software and services. Connecting this to our overall theme, it's important to recognize how these websites have become integral parts of our daily lives and how their design and functionality contribute to user engagement. Each site is optimized to meet specific user needs, which is a critical aspect of understanding web development and digital communication. So, in essence, These examples remind us of the vast landscape of the internet and the importance of designing websites that are user-friendly, accessible, and aligned with the purpose they serve.